Right, this time we get started. Is that black can get something back here. Then, well, I guess I have to let it know I'm here. So white can't block. All white can do is just back off. And now these stones are captured in Sente and black moves on. Or white can just leave, but then black can revive these stones and capture 2 white stones. So there's an opportunity here for black. You can see that by focusing this way, black has lost a chance. Now these stones have been captured back and nothing's been accomplished. A lot of times, you see, this is just conceptually something to be aware of and to look for. Whether stones are alive or dead doesn't even really matter. It's not important. It has nothing to do with what Go is about. But one of the things that is important is how stones are working. Stones can work for you even if they're dead. If you focus on, trying to make your stones alive and so forth, you're missing easy profit opportunities, as here. I think I don't. Yes. There we go. As here. You can use these stones because of the fact that the white is not connected here and white is short of liberties to force a substantial gain on this side. I mean, this is not small. 4 white stones is 8, 4 black stones is 8, that's 16. Plus, if black is alive here, so white has to back off. Then later on, if black were to push again, and then later on if black were just simply to descend, there's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points here that black creates, and white does not get these 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. See, you put these together, this is almost
40 points.
Yeah, I mean, in any event, it goes way beyond just these 16. It's close to a 40-point move. If you get too focused on making your stones alive, you're missing these opportunities. It's not about life and death, it's about profits. It's about the stones are means to an end. They're not an end in and of themselves. But with this exchange, now see the shortage of liberty situation on white is resolved. Now the stones are taken. Right. One of the things about Go that makes Go a difficult game is, while nominally or intrinsically every stone has the same worth as every other stone, in an actual game situation, the value of stones is highly variable. Some stones are worthless, other stones are priceless. And every engagement starts with deciding that for yourself. Are these stones worthless or are these stones priceless? So I'm going to ask, in this particular game, Mr. Black is Andrew.
Yes.
This black stone that you're developing here, what is the value of this stone?
Nothing.
I agree.
Well, could you use it to cut? If you play the A, and then if you cut, would you be able to then?
You mean cut here?
Yeah. After
Well,
you've developed that,
since
and then
these
capture those-
stones are dead, and since these stones are dead, you have no substantive benefit. It may be that this
You're right,
might be a
okay.
force of some kind or another,
Okay.
but it's relatively small. But you did say the right word, use. Now, you can just decide to move on. White played there, and white got a value, and it's Ngote, and good for Mr. White, now I'll get a value. Or, if you wanted to engage white, let's use the stone. Let's play here. And if white plays here, we'll play here. See, now we're using the stone. If white pushes in, we stop. If white plays here, we play here. But notice what's happened now. White has to come back and protect because this is Atari and the white stones are taken. So, if white engages us in this way, we get to expand the area over here in Sente. That's using the stone.
I don't want to go off on an unrelated tangent,
Uh-huh.
but I've always been totally confused about. So the prospect of using a double hane scares the daylights out of me
Uh-huh.
because of just, so many cutting points. When is there a rule of thumb or some sort of a way that you can judge when it's appropriate to use it and not? Without having to read out, 30 more.
Well, the thing is this. See, this, jumping ahead and then playing this hane, which is turned into a double hane with this white move, but technically it's not a double hane at this moment, is the most powerful way of playing there is, in terms of maximizing the local trade in your benefit. But you're absolutely right. You are creating numerous cutting points of your own. So this is only feasible when the forces, black and white forces, are equal. If your opponent is strong, let's just say, for example, let's say that this is a white stone. Now white is connected through to a live group and there is no leverage whatsoever. In that case, this would be insanely risky. It's the balance of forces that makes it work. In this case, technically speaking, and exactly, it's the fact that if white enhances this cutting point by pushing in here, at the same time he fills his liberty and now his stones can be captured. That capture, the fact that he needs to defend that, is what makes it possible. The process is, you play the hane. This is the most powerful move, this is giving you the best outcome. But because of the cutting point, you know you're going to have to come back and fix it up. This is the key thing and the simple way to understand it. You get a tempo to come back because he has a tempo to fix up too. See, your pressure on him, he fixes up, you fix up. If you change that, he doesn't have to fix up. Now it falls apart because instead of fixing up, he starts cutting and then you break down. So if you have that pressure so that as you create this weakness, he has to take a tempo out to fix himself up, then you're fine.
Okay.
But if you don't have that tempo, you can't do it. So in this case, because if white plays in through here and fills his own liberty, he puts himself in a position where he can be captured. He needs to spend the defensive move. Actually, he can't even afford this one. This move order is wrong. In fact, he should, well, right. In fact, the truth is he has to play this Atari immediately. Then this becomes Atari, and then he can play here. That's what he has to do. He has to make some kind of, he has to play some kind of move, some tempo that fixes up his position. And then that gives you the chance to fix up your position. The way this works is if white, technically speaking, if white plays here, now you back up. He can do this if he wants, but again, he still has to fill. And now you can move on or you can cut, whichever.
It's basically the same result.
Yeah.
A little bit
Yeah.
better for black there.
So you could use this stone, use the fact that these are cut off and white is short of liberties. There's only 3 liberties here. See, and the hane move here is key because you're holding his liberties short. That's what makes everything work. And build up your position on this side while just dumping off 1 stone at relatively little cost. Or you could just, move on. Get to the big area first, as well, you didn't see that game Tim was doing in the other group. But see, here, everything over here is rock solid and strong. So the value of this whole position is, are these 2 stones being taken? Are these 2 stones being taken? There's just no points there from black's perspective. There's nothing here that worth fighting over. And as you start to add stones, if you end up losing those stones, your losses get larger and larger. So this is not a fight that black wants to have. Okay, so good damage control. I like this. You see things aren't working, get out of here with minimum cost, get some benefit for yourself, and move on. If you're going to reinforce in this area, continue to use the stones by pushing up. See? This is a forcing move because this is Atari and everything of white's is taken. If white takes, well, this is a big plus for you. Now you can decide if you want to make a defensive move or not. If you want to make a defensive move, play this one. That fixes up your problems. better than just jumping does. But while this move was not a good move, black did a good job of getting out of here when things got hairy without getting hurt too badly. You can afford a million losses of this kind in a 9-stone game.
That's the end of the game.
Oh, this is the end of the game.
We spent a lot of time thinking.
Okay, so looking over this, the key thing in this game, there's two key things in this game. Just right at the beginning, there's some key things. First, white is not completing his position here, and second, black is not taking advantage of that fact to get an outstanding result. This kind of move is a good move in and of its own right. It makes a very strong shape for white. One of the things about Go, one of the ways to get advantage, is you can not only get pluses for yourself, you can create minuses for your opponent. Once black plays here, white has 3 stones on the board. Because this is a single stone and 2 of its liberties are filled, this stone now has a functional value of only half a stone. So you have not only put down a move that has full value in terms of your own position, you have subtracted a half a stone of white's. That's how big the issues are when you're talking about completion. You get a positive for yourself, a full stone worth of positive value, and an additional half stone worth of value subtracted from the opponent's position. This is why you don't like to leave these things alone like this.
Yeah, after watching the first 9-stone game, I already caught that error. I was like, oh no, I should have caught it.
And then the secondary thing here is once you start moving, you know, if you get blocked, if things go wrong, don't stop moving. Make sure that you get out. Remember here, the purpose of moving out for black is not defensive. It's not about how much territory is involved. It's not about anything. It's a strategic, aggressive purpose to divide white on a large scale. You can still accomplish that. White has been strengthened over on this side, but this stone is still weak. You can still go after the stone and attack it on a large scale. Don't stop just because your way has been blocked. It's still worth your while, strategically, even though you have less hope of going after this side, you still have good potential for yourself over here. Plus, as long as this area is left, you have the threat to come back to it at a later time. You know, if white runs away and you run away, and white runs away, and you know, you run away here, and white does that, and you make sure that you're going to live here. You know, when white comes out, you can always come back at a later time and blow white up. And come back and get a profit on this side. So you still have the advantage that white's position here is not complete yet, and there's a follow-up attack that black has. So from black's perspective, not following through here. And then the other thing is, there's just this profit right on the board. You know, take your profit. Don't let your concern about these stones blind you to the 40-point move that's just on the board for the taking. And then, you know, review this strategic choice to mobilize this stone, but a good job of getting out of here. Damage control is an important part of Go. It's a whole topic in its own right. What do you do after you've made a mistake? You see the mistake, fine. You know, you just that can no longer be helped. That's the way it is. But you don't have to turn a mistake into a loss. Even the top players in the world do not play games without mistakes. Mistakes are a part of every game. Damage control is making sure that your mistake does not turn into a loss. It's very easy, if you won't recognize your mistake, to follow it up with enough moves that by the time the damage is done, the game is over. There's no reason to lose a game just because you made a mistake. When you recognize the mistake, get out. That was well done on black's part here. And then this is the other one. Okay. White does not get any particular benefit by not taking this symmetrical point here.
It's in the same-
I suppose in some technical sense, by playing here, White does have the incremental advantage that a secondary move creates a more solid structure. But White can't afford to spend another move there anyway, so that's a moot point, and the symmetrical point is better. Uh-huh, okay, okay. White likes to play contact moves in handicap games because it's a cheap way of starting a fight. But Black should never be afraid of a contact move. Black should welcome contact moves. They tend to be very advantageous for Black. The theory of a contact move is it's a kind of an offer of sorts. I will let you develop if you let me develop. That's the meaning of it. In a handicap game, that offer is almost always to Black's advantage. The stronger Black gets, the faster, the less trouble White can make. Building up his positions is a very valuable thing for Black. So Black responds exactly right here with this Hane. And this is the correct Hane.